Welcome to Play It Again. I'm Jordan, and I'm joined today by some maybe unfamiliar faces. We have Matt Robinson and Paul Satachet.
Hey!
Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Hi, how are you, Jordan?
Good. It's good to see you guys. I haven't seen you guys in a minute or two.
Sure.
Everyone's been busy, but these are the co-hosts of the Game Brain podcast, along with Ben, who's been on the channel before, and Tom. And we're here today.
Trey's there too.
And Trey. Oh my God, and Trey. Who almost appeared on the podcast and then, or on the channel, but then he's like, we can't film this. You have to just teach me this silently, not on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, Trey.
Love
That was for Robotics. Anyway, welcome guys. It's good to have you here.
Good to have you.
And we're playing a very exciting new Euro game.
We are.
Yeah, you love
Feya
Euros.
Swamp. I
This
love
is
Euros.
Feya Swamp by Helge Ostertag, best known for Terra Mystica, Gaia Project, Age of Innovation. And this, I believe, is a game that he actually designed prior to those.
Right. It was originally called Kaivai,
That sounds right.
I think. And people still say that maybe that version is better. Some people like that version better than this one.
Okay, so you can tune off.
No, but no. Screw those people. This is
Yeah.
probably better. It's newer anyway. It's very exciting, and it's much prettier, I think. It looks like a beautiful game.
It is a beautiful game.
Yeah, we're playing in this swamp. This is Feya's Swamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this video is going to be basically a teach. So, Matt, you're going to teach. I've played the game. You've played the game. Paul here is almost winning game now.
I've seen the game.
Paul's seen the game on this table right
On this
now.
table,
Right,
that's right.
okay.
But you are a Helge Ostertag fanboy.
I am like Age of Innovation is probably my lifestyle game. Mm-hmm. And
And you were also a very big fan of Terra Mystica and Gaia Project.
yep, I think I like all of it.
And there's quite a bit of the TM Universe games DNA in Feya Swamp.
Oh, we'll see.
More than just a little.
Love it. I can't wait to lose.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I've only played once. Have you played a bunch more, Matt?
No.
Okay, so it's kind of like a second game for all of us, but
Yeah.
we're excited to play it. And I should say as well, we're going to be reviewing this game on the Game Brain podcast on the same day this video is posted.
There you go.
So if you enjoy our gameplay and you want to hear us talk about the game more, check out the podcast. All right, Matt, why don't you jump into the teach here?
got it.
Where do you want to start?
So this is a slightly, I'll say lightly asymmetrical game in which we are playing different swamp creatures. There are 4 in the game. It's a 4-player game. It takes about 90 minutes to 2 hours. We have randomly given these 3 out right now. Paul is playing the crocodiles.
Crocs.
I am the turtles, and Jordan is the salamanders.
Yeah.
And I will explain after the teach the light asymmetry between them. There is also a side of each board that is not asymmetrical, that is all plays the same, but we will never play with those because I like asymmetry, especially in a Helge Ostertag game. So, a couple things we're looking at here. This is almost an abstract game. There definitely has some abstract elements to it, but first and foremost, it is a worker placement game. So we each start with 3 workers. They are these lovely little wooden meeples that are different depending on our creatures. And on our turn, we are going to be placing these out on these spaces at the top of the swamp that are all the worker placement spots. These are exclusive worker placement, no shared spots. And you'll notice most of them have places where it's free to go, and then some have costs. So the later you go to these locations, the more expensive it will be to go there. Some even have benefits if you go there early as well. So the game is played over 4 rounds. There's a round board over here. This board has a lot of important information on it, and we're going to be playing 4 rounds of the game, and then after that we do scoring. The rounds, you'll see this is round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, and there are also fish cards at the top. They're going to tell us what fish are going to be in season that round. There are some end game scoring cards at the end. There's a bunch of them. We play with 2 every game. They're random. And then there are 3 race cards here. These are things, goals that are also randomly decided. There are much more of these cards in the game, and we will be racing to achieve these throughout the game. At the end of the round 4, we'll be scoring, and whoever has the most points wins. So let's look, let's start with our boards for the most part. So first of all, so this is our board. It looks like a lot going on, but I'll explain it quite simply because it is quite simple. There are 20, these are called settlements. So think of these as villages or houses. We are going to be slowly placing our villages all over this board, or settlements, and growing out from there. That is sort of the abstract part of this. We're all going to be sort of playing this little spatial game here, putting out, conquering territory, building little patterns to block people out, things like that. And this is broken up into 4 sections. So there's 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here. When you build from left to right, in either of those 5 sections, and you can swap at will. So I could build here, but then my next choices are either here, 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 or here. So you always have to go left to right, but you can always switch in between builds to any different build, but you always have to go to whatever is not built on the farthest to the left. I'm just going to turn my phone off. You'll notice in classic Ostertag style, as you build these buildings, you're going to start unlocking powers or incomes. This little sun phase is the income symbol that you're going to always collect these things at the beginning of the round. And a lot of the strategy and replayability comes from, first of all, the asymmetry, because we have all slightly different boards that are going to be slightly better at certain things and worse at other things. But also the routes that you take and the things you unlock throughout the game and the powers you unlock and the incomes you unlock will change your strategy vastly every time you play. So again, 4 different tracks. You build them in any way you want. At the beginning of the game, we're going to be building 3. This one, this one, this one. You'll tell they're all dark brown. Those are the 3 we're going to be placing before the game even begins. And so we will start with these 3 incomes, of which 2 are boats and 1 is this worm, which I will explain. Okay.
Worm.
So let's go over this handy dandy little cheat sheet here. Every round's going to play out the same. At the beginning of the game, like I just said, we're going to place our first 3. And that's going to be in a random order. I believe it's going to be decided by choosing these leader cards. I'll talk about these briefly as well. So there are 10 leader cards in the game. You randomly lose 3 of those every game and you play with 7. These are similar to the bonus tiles in Terra Mystica or any of the Telga Ostertag Terra Mystica universe games, in which you're taking one of these at the beginning of every round. The number in the upper left-hand corner is the initiative that will decide turn order. And then there's a power at the bottom. A lot of these are income they're going to give you. The things that go right are to tell you how far your boats can move, how much it's going to cost you to build. And every round you're going to be taking one of these. And when you pass, you're going to put it back and take another one that's not there. All the ones that aren't taken in the previous round have these little fish resources put on top of them. So they get more valuable or more juicy to take as nobody takes them. And eventually, you're going to take 4 of those throughout the game, and they are not balanced on purpose. So some of them are better than others. Obviously, the ones with the lower initiative, which is better because the lower the number, the earlier you go in the round, are not going to be as strong with the ones with the higher initiative. But they'll also have cool little balances too. So that's a big fun part of the game. Okay, so at the beginning of round 1, everybody receives they call them bonuses. In the income phase, anything with a sun symbol. So in order to have the sun symbols on your board, the settlement has to be gone already. If the settlement is there, you don't get it. There are also, as we said, a lot of them on the leader cards. And that's it. So you're going to take all your incomes that you get. That's done simultaneously. And then in turn order, which will already be set at the end of the last round, once we've all revealed the leaders that we've taken, we will take turns. And a turn is take one of your available workers and place it somewhere on the worker placement spots. That is a whole turn. Then you will do that whole turn, and the next person will go. And when everybody has passed, the round will end, and I will talk about the end round stuff after I go through all of the actions.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
So let's get...
Question.
Yes.
Do people pass when they're out, or can they pass?
You can pass whenever you want.
Good. Okay.
And much like in Terra Mystica, you usually want to be out of resources, be out of things, but sometimes it's really important to pass to get a really good leader for the next round.
Love it.
To go earlier. So there are 2 different types of actions in the game, not including the pass action. So they are your worker actions and there are your boat actions. They both are done with your workers. I think they might actually be called land actions.
They're land, yeah. So these ones are sea actions with little waves, and then land actions have the...
They're all done with your little meeples. They're not done with your boats. Your boats are going to be out on the board, which we'll talk about. So, first things first, again, exclusive worker placement spots. If I go there, nobody else can go there. Let's talk about the land ones first. No, I take that back. Let's talk about the boat ones first. Boat ones are more important. So, let's start with building. So, let's take a look at this map and I'll show you what is happening right now on this map. So, you'll notice there are a bunch of islands on the board. Now, one of the important things in this game to remember is that these islands always have to stay separate. No matter how large these islands get, they're always going to have to stay separate. You can never connect the islands. It's important that there's always this many islands in the game. And an island just means adjacently connected tiles, connected by a side. So this is one island, this is one island, that is one island, etc. And never could I place a piece here that would connect these islands, because now that is no longer two separate islands. So you can never place a piece here or there. So these are also fish. You'll notice they have different colors. There's blue, pink, and yellow. The colors are dependent on what fish are available, randomly decided by these fish cards that we put out on the round board here. So at the beginning of the game, in round 1, only yellow fish are able to be caught. There's only yellow fish in the swamp. The next round, in season, yes, there'll be pink and blue, then yellow and blue, and then pink. So we started with sort of a fallow season here, where there's not a lot of fish in the swamp. And this will also make this area of the board very busy, I believe. So that leads us into the fishing action. So let's first talk about the fishing action, which is this lovely little hook here. So this is also a very important rule that will apply to all of the boat actions in the game. And like I said, we will have 2 boats out on the board at the beginning. Does everybody have 2? Yeah, everybody will have 2 boats out on the board and 3 islands.
And your boats start on your islands, right?
Yes, so anytime that you build a boat and there's a boat below the anytime you build a settlement, and there's a boat below that settlement, the boat must be placed on the settlement when you place it on the board. So, but this applies to all boat actions in the game. You cannot take the action just to move your boat. You always get to move your boat before the action, but if you cannot do the action after you've moved your boat, you cannot take the action. And anytime you take a boat action, you are allowed to take that action with all of your boats. If you start with 2, you will eventually potentially have up to 3 boats. So every time I take an action, I could do it 3 times, but I have to be able to do it with all 3 boats. If you cannot take the action with that boat, you cannot move. And often you're going to want to move, because moving your boat is very important. But if you cannot take the action, you cannot move your boat just because you get to move all your boats. Nope, got to take the action. So fishing is where you're going to get fish. There are 3 main resources in the game. There are fish, which are obviously these little fish tokens. There is money, which we start with 20. We start with 3 fish. And there is mana, which look like these little purple berries. So those are the only 3 resources in the game. And we'll explain what they all do. But for right now, we start with 3 fish. Here's how you get more. You can move your boat. And how far do you move it? Well, it is 2 numbers combined. One is on your player board. You'll see we all have a boat movement value. We start at 0. So at the beginning of the game, your boat can move 0. But slowly we'll be moving this up. And you say it's 1, 2, all the way up to +4. But it's not just that number, because there's a plus there. So it's +3 plus whatever your leader card is that round the movement value on it. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see this little fin, or it's probably a sail. The sail here is your movement value. You add the movement value on your board, and that is the movement value not cumulatively for all of your boats, but for each boat. Again, you're gonna wanna move your boats, but you can't move your boat unless the boat can take the action after it moves. And you're rarely gonna be able to do that action with all your boats, but part of the game is trying to figure that out because you wanna obviously be as efficient as possible. So, fish action. First thing I can do is I can move my boat. Let's say I have this leader card. Okay, that has a movement of 5. Let's say that's there. I only have 5. I want to get yellowfish. Why? That's the only fish that exists in round 1. You cannot catch any fish other than yellowfish in round 1. So I'm here, I'm Jordan. I'm going to move 5. Let's say I just need to move 2. Done. I'm going to go on top of that fish. And then I am going to collect fish. How many fish do I collect? You collect fish equal to the number of worms you have per boat. So, right now at the beginning of the game, before I place any of my settlements, I have access to 0 worms. But remember, we're going to be placing these 3 out at the beginning of the game. This one, and this one, which means I will start with 1 worm available. That 1 worm will mean for every boat on a fish, I will get 1 fish. So I would get that fish. If Jordan had another guy out here and he moved it here, he would get 1 fish there. If he had a 3rd boat here, he'd get 3 fish. Now, later on in the game, let's say I start building some more settlements. I have 2 worms available. Now each boat would collect 2 fish. So I could get 6 fish if I had 3 ships on 3 yellow fish during that action. And when you take the action, you don't just do it for one of your boats, you do all of your boats. But again, I'll repeat this ad nauseum, you cannot move your boat if you can't take the action. And you won't always have your boats close enough to the fish that aren't taken in order to take fish with all your boats.
Right, we should say, when Season 1 changes over to Season 2 and it's pink and blue fish, everyone's going to have to do
Everyone's going to be over here.
To the red and blue.
And we're going to be erased. So you might want to leave one of your boats in this section to be ready for the next round.
Right.
Especially when you'll probably have a lot more worms uncovered and it'll be a more efficient action. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the entire fishing action. You'll notice on the fishing spots here, the first one actually gets you a fish. If you're the first one to go there, you just get a free fish, which is great. This gets you nothing but costs you nothing. This costs you a mana. This costs you 2. We only start with 1. And there's only 3 of us in this game, so that will be fine. But mana is very hard to come by and very valuable. Okay, that is the fishing action.
You said that there's only 3 of us in the game, but all 4 spots are still available.
Right, because
multiple people, you can take the same action twice, etc.
Yes, I apologize. You're correct. You cannot just send only 1 meeple to each place. In fact, I could go here, and then on my next turn I can go there, and my next turn I can go there, and my next turn I can go there, and I could have gone there 4 times and nobody could have gone fishing.
Right.
That would have been pretty bad for everybody else. Next we get to trade. So what do you do with these fish? Well, you sell them. You sell them for money, you sell them for victory points. Okay, so the way you do this, I need everybody just to put a couple tiles out. Just connect them to islands without combining islands. Yes, excellent. Good, good, good. And I'm going to take a couple fishies, and I'm going to put a fish here, 2 fish there.
Let's point out, you are allowed to build on top of fish. Right?
You are allowed to build on top of fish. We'll get to building in a second.
Sorry. Okay.
And let's say it looks something like that. Okay, so the trade action is when you're going to take the fish that you have in your supply and you're going to go to different settlements and you're going to sell them. So again, every time I take this action, which is right here, so it's fish plus the little money symbol, which are diamonds in this game, I would go here and then I could, well, not with that, obviously, with my worker.
Yeah, you can use your boat too if it's less confusing.
And then I will get to move all my boats up to their movement value, which we talked about, which is going to be the number in the upper right-hand corner in the sail number plus whatever bonus that you have to your sailing. You can move each boat that amount of spaces. Where are you moving? You need to move adjacent to a settlement or adjacent to multiple settlements. In fact, I'm going to do it like that. Will be better. So let's say Jordan was here and he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. He has a movement of 5. That's fine. He moves 4. He lands right here. Okay, so he wants to sell his fish. Let's say Jordan has 3 fish. So what he can do, let's actually give Jordan a few more fish than that. We're going to say Jordan has 5 fish. So how does fishing work? Well, you can sell fish to your own color and you get nothing for now. Later on, you'll get victory points.
Yeah.
But for now, no money. You can sell your fish to other people for money. You don't take it from them. They don't pay you for it. It comes from the bank. It's, basically you're trading with those people, not with the players. And each settlement can buy up to 3 fish. The fish will stay there until another action is taken later in the game that removes them. But each settlement can take 3 fish. Once there's 3 fish on the settlement, they cannot buy any more fish. Even if it is your own settlement. If I have 3 on my own settlement here, I cannot put any more fish on that. So how much money do I get for putting a fish on somebody else's settlement? Well, the first fish will get me 4, 3, and then 2, right?
That's right,
Except if that's there, each fish is worth $1 more, right? But the first fish is worth 4, the second fish is worth 3, the third fish is worth 2, so $9 if you fill it up. Now, if somebody else already has the fish there, let's say I previously sold a fish to there, I can still put fish there, but I only get what the value of the second one is going to be 3, and the value of the third one is going to be 2, so that would be $5. And then once there's 3 on there, it is full up. Now, I can, quote unquote, trade with my own color, but I get nothing right now. But the same rules still apply where it maxes out at 3. Once it's at 3, it's done. This is the totem. We'll talk about how totems get places, but there is a totem. It can only ever be on 1 island at a time. And like Jordan said, it will increase the value of all fish by 1. It does not give you money when you put on your own, though. You never get money putting fish on your own settlements. You'll get points later on, and we'll talk about that. But you will want to put them on both. So let's say I go there. Again, every time you take a boat action, you can move all your boats if they can take the action at the end. So they have to be close enough somewhere that has an empty space that doesn't have 3 fish on it where I can saddle up and sell some of my fish, and I have to have fish to sell. And I can do that with as many boats as I'm able to. And then that's the end of the round. This is your main way of getting money. Money is going to be very valuable in this game. Not quite as tight as mana, but extremely important as well. Why? For building. And we'll get to that in just 1 second. Okay, and by 1 second, I mean immediately. Let's talk about building. So, how do you put all these lovely tiles out on the board and start increasing your income and unlocking your powers and winning the game? And in essence, getting a lot of points, because this is the main way you're going to get points in this game. So, in order to build, you must put your boat adjacent to one of the islands that you want to build at. Now, it's very important that I say that, because let's say I'm going to keep using Jordan's boat. Let's say Jordan's boat is right here. Now, that is a legal placement for a settlement, but Jordan is not currently adjacent to the island, so we cannot build it there. In order to build there, Jordan would have to be here or here, okay? So here is not enough. You have to be adjacent to the island. Imagine like you have to actually be docked on the island to get the supplies, to get the workers, to build all this stuff. You can't do it from the ocean. So if he was here or here, he could build. Now remember, if he was here, he can build here, that's fine. He can't build here though. Why? Because it takes these two separate islands and makes them one. That is never legal in this game. All islands must stay separate. So these two spots will literally never have a settlement on them or anything else other than a boat. So Jordan wants to build an island here. What is the cost of that? Well, once again, we go back to these cards. Remember, these cards have a bunch of important things that are going to affect things you do in the entire round. That's your movement value. That's going to apply every time you move your boat, how many times each boat can move, plus the value on your board. This is how much money you're going to have to spend to build, plus something else. $3 for every spirit island on the board, or spirit settlement. Spirit tile, I believe they're called. Spirit tiles are the printed tiles on the game board, or the ones that are placed separately. It's $3 per. So this island is $6. This island is 1. Plus that number. So that's 13 if I want to build here. That's a lot of money. It doesn't matter how many colored settlements are there, yours or other people's. You ignore those. There could be 20 settlements of all the other types. All you care about is $3 per these brown colored symbols there.
Okay, so this is like 6?
That is 6 plus whatever's on your thing.
And this is 3.
3 plus whatever's on your card. Okay, and the cards vary. They go from $1 to 7. So maybe don't take this if you're planning on doing a lot of building this round.
Yeah, it just so happens that in our game it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nice.
Whoa. Good job. What?
So that is building. And again, like all boat actions, you can build once per boat. But you have to be able to move your boat and then take the action in order to move your boat. In order to have your boat even be turned on, so to speak.
So, real quick,
yes.
Must you move your boat to do the action, or you can move your boat, but you must be able to do it?
Do not have to move it. Right. If you're in the perfect spot already to do the action, that's fine. But in order to move at all, you can't just go. You can't get halfway to where you want to go and do it another turn. You got to get there all the way.
Love it.
Now we'll get to the. Let's say you want to just move your boat and you can't get it anywhere. Are you locked in? No. You can take the sail action, which is over here. There's only 3 worker placement spots here. The first one's going to get you 2 points. This is the victory point symbol here. Second one's going to be free, and the third one's going to cost a mana. You can move your boat up to your movement per things. You don't have to end up anywhere. You don't have to do anything specific. This is when you can just rejigger your boats, do whatever you want. But it's also the only time that you are allowed to go to the temples. So there are 5 temples on the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all have slightly different tokens. The tokens, the top one is always going to be the most valuable. The one below that, a little bit less. The one below that, a little bit less. Everybody is allowed to go to each temple once per game. There's 5. You can get 5 of these throughout the game. You can never visit the same temple twice. You can pass through it, that's fine. But you can never land there and take a temple tile if you already taken a temple tile of that type. How do you know the type? If you look at the back, they have a little symbol on the back that will match the symbol above it. So you can never have the same symbol more than once. In order to get here, you have to move your ship into this one sort of long, strangely shaped space. So it's not enough to get right here. You have to then move one more into this space.
Go to shore.
You have to go to shore, exactly. The nice thing about shore, though, unblockable. Now, I haven't talked about this yet. It's okay to move through other pieces. That's totally fine. Yours or somebody else's color. You can never stop where another piece is. The only place on the entire board that multiple pieces can share are temple spots. So these are unblockable. Your own color or other people's colors are welcome to stop there. But you cannot stop there if you've already stopped there and taken a tile. You can move through it if you want to, and you might need to because these might get blocked with other things, and then you've got no choice but to get through. But you take the top one, and you get whatever's on it. They're usually just going to be points. There's some mana tokens here. There's some fishies on that one. And there you go. So these are nice, good points.
Yeah, and all of the ones in this stack have a mana token. I think all of the ones in this stack have 2 fish, so it's just the points change.
Yeah.
So these are inherently a little better.
Right. And the only way you'll ever get to these temples is by taking the sail action. Why? Because remember, all the other boat actions in the game require you going to finish on a location where you can do that action. And that will never be where the temple tiles are. So if you want to get to a temple tile, or you don't have to go to temple by going to the sailing action, you could just move your boats around, but you can move all your boats, and they are allowed then to visit the temples and get tiles if you haven't gotten them together.
Here's a tough question.
Please.
Let's say this island was like this.
Mm-hmm.
Could I move into here and then build here?
No, because you are not adjacent to the island that
Why
you're.
not?
Oh, sorry. Yes, you are adjacent to that. That is absolutely fine. Yes, that was actually been asked.
But
on
you still
BGG.
don't get this, right? Or you do get it? I assume you don't. I assume you have to take the torch action to get.
You
the
do.
torch.
I believe you do have to take the torch action to do that. Yes.
Good to know.
Yes. So that's moving. That's all the boat actions. We've now covered all the boat actions. I will talk quickly about some of the ins and outs of building because Jordan was sort of getting into that. And this is the tricky part of the game. It's not too tricky, but this is the only part of the game where there are multiple questions on BGG about it. And I did refresh my memory with those rules because it does get a little tricky. So when you are placing a settlement, as we talked about in the build action, there are a couple rules. You have to place it adjacent to another tile. This is fine. It doesn't have to be touching a brown tile. If I was here, I could build here. If I was here, I could build here. That's fine. Remember, if I'm not adjacent, I can't build next to it. Even though I'm adjacent to this island, if I want to build on this one, I have to be adjacent to the island that I'm building on. Okay. Mm-hmm. One thing though is, let's say Paul.
It's me.
Silly old Paul. Let's say Paul's right here. Let's say Paul did something really silly, like he put himself all the way in here. I might think it's really funny to move in here and just trap Paul's boat for the whole game. Ha ha ha. No, can't do that. Illegal. You can never do a build that would permanently trap a boat inside. Paul, I know you're thinking about it. I know you already were planning on it. It's not allowed. You also...
If Paul weren't here, would that be allowed? You could close off ocean space?
Yes. You can even, and this can be dastardly and mean, close off other tiles so nobody else can get to them. So like now that can never be sold to. That's totally legal.
Yeah, that is mean.
And mean. One thing you cannot do is totally close off a temple either. So this is fine because there's still a way in, but not fine to do this. And see, now we're getting into sort of abstract game kind of stuff here. That's not okay because nobody can get in or out there. Obviously, if there weren't boats here, it's still not allowed because you can't make it so nobody can get to an island. Paul,
hey,
okay? Other than that, though, as long as you don't block in a boat or close out an island, you also can't build all the way across the map because then you are literally blocking off 2 islands. You always have to have a route. Somebody has to always be able to get to all of the temples.
Right. Which I'm not even sure that would be possible without joining 2 islands together. But
you are probably correct, yes. But just for Paul, who's probably already planning that, you can't do that stuff, Paul.
I have planned it. I found a way.
I know, you did. You've already broken it. So that are the building rules, and we have now talked about all the boat things. Let's move on to the land ho actions.
So we've got 3 land actions here.
Yes. Let us talk about this one here. Okay, so this is where normally the totem lives. There's only one spot here. Only one person can go here around, and you notice there are only 4 tiles. There are 4 rounds in the game. This action can only be taken 4 times in the whole game. Doesn't have to be. People could ignore it a whole round if they want. But when you go here, you get 5 points. That's a lot of points. And then you get to take one of these spirit tiles, and you could place it anywhere on the board. Now, a couple things happen here. These islands, you can place it anywhere you want following the normal placement rules. Now, what have you done here? Well, I've made it more expensive to build here, but I've also made it more valuable. And we'll talk about that. The endgame scoring is always going to be your settlements times the number of spirit tokens that are on a thing. So that's now look at Jordan's got a nice little thing here. 3 times 3, 9 points at the end of the game. If he builds a whole bunch of these and a whole bunch of these, he could have a very valuable island at the end of the game. Yeah.
And when you place that, this goes on it as well?
Yes, and that is part of the action. When you place that, you get to take the totem and put it on one of those. If it's on another island, it moves to there. It won't always be there. And then that will now make more money if you sell it there. So there's 2 reasons you're going to want to go to that spot. One is to make your places more valuable, or if you want to be mean and maybe make something more expensive. So I don't know if that's a strategy, maybe.
Paul.
Or if you're planning on selling there and you want to get more money when you sell.
$1 yeah. And
Plus
you have
$1
to put
per
this
fish.
on the tile you just built.
You have to put it on the tile you just built.
Can't put it where you want.
And at the end of the round, whoever passes last will always get to place 1 free spirit token anywhere on the board, and then that will automatically warp this to where that is also. So it's always going to be moving around.
Whoever goes last.
And this will be, that's one nice thing about passing glass. That's a cool little thing, right? I like that.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, so
That's
you
the
actually,
first rule that got Paul excited.
I know, yeah. He was like, yeah.
It's the first rule that I couldn't contain.
That's
You
right.
couldn't contain the excitement.
Burst.
Sure.
All right, so that is this action. That is the spirit action.
And it comes with 5 points, we should say.
It's great. Huge incentive.
Massive.
Very lovely. 5 points is a lot. Okay, next one is improve sailing. Okay, this is improve sailing. Go here, move your little sail icon over, get some victory points in the middle, and maybe increase your permanent movement actions for all of your boats every time you take a boat action.
Right.
It's not always an improvement. You'll notice sometimes it just goes to the same number, but eventually it goes all the way up to 4 and can get you a lot of points if you get there. That action is very simple. Go there. First person to go there will get 2 points. Second person, nothing. Third and fourth person are going to be paying some mana. Okay, now we get to potentially the most interesting one in the game, which is Celebrate. So Celebrate is how you get the fish off of stuff.
Right.
Turn them into points. So remember when I said you want to put fish on your own islands as well sometimes, but you get no money. And you were probably thinking, well, why would I want to do that? It's for this. So Celebrate is where you pick one island. And remember, an island is just one place of tiles. It can't be, you can never connect them. And you're picking one of the many. There will always be this many islands in the game. You're pointing to one and you're saying Celebrate. And then you are getting 1 point per island, per settlement that has a fish on it. Okay, the person who's doing the action, no matter what the color of the settlement is, this is very important. Doesn't matter if they're your own, doesn't matter if they're somebody else's. You're going to get 1 point per tile, colored tile. They're never going to be fish on these spirit tiles, per colored tile that has a fish on it. So right now, if I chose this tile, I'd get 2 points. But then everybody gets 1 point per fish on their own colored settlements. So if I did the action, I would get 2 points here. And then if I'm Jordan, I would get 2 more points, and Paul would get 3 points. So you're probably thinking, I get 4, Paul gets 3. That's not so great. I don't like that. But you know, if Jordan came over here and he'd get 2 points for, maybe he makes it a little bit juicier. He gets 3 points for 1 per each tile, and then he also gets 3 points, 1 per each fish. That's 6 points just for him. Lovely. And then the fish come off, and he's ready to stock them up again, or have somebody else stock them up.
Right.
So when you're selling fish to somebody else's island, you're giving them points, but you're getting a lot of money. But that's why you might want to stock them up on your own islands, get a little money, get a little points, and then. But then also, if a place starts filling up with a lot of fish, it may be worth it to you to pop the celebration, even if you're not making a lot of points there, because maybe you don't want the other person to get all the points there.
Right.
I want to get at least 6 points, and maybe you're going to get 8. But you were going to get 14 if I didn't do that action. So that's an interesting thing.
And we should say, if this little totem is there as well, maybe it was put out by taking this action over here, you get the person who triggers the action gets 3 additional
3
points.
bonus points. Exactly. Very nice. So only the person who triggers it. So triggering it, even when you're not the one who's going to be making the lion's share, can often be the right move.
And Matt, do you need to have your boat next to that island to take that action?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to boat anywhere.
Great.
You don't even have to have boats.
Right.
You don't have to be playing this game.
Right. None of these land actions actually care about where your boats are.
No, they're land. You're on land, Jordan.
That makes perfect sense.
Unbelievable, Jordan.
Okay, but Matt, what are these little white meeples in the corner?
Yes. So you're probably wondering, I only have 3 workers. Oh yeah, when I build this settlement, I can get another worker. When I build this settlement, I can get another worker. Turtles are special because we have an extra worker, I believe. No, crocodiles are special because you have an extra worker. You have 3. Everybody else only has...
You have 6.
You have 6 total. Everybody else has 5 total. Everybody starts with 3, same amount. You can go up to 6. Everybody else can go up to 5.
You don't need to yell at me.
Yes, you're correct. And then we all have access to this pool of axolotls. Axolotls. How do you get an axolotl? Well, 2 mana, any time on your turn, can buy an axolotl.
Really?
They're a temporary worker. You have it for just the round. But you now have more workers. Now, that's how valuable these are. Because remember, I can get an axolotl to do another action.
Yes.
But what if Paul and Jordan go here first, and I don't have any, and I need to go fishing? Now I don't have any. What's that extra action doing for me when I can't do the action I want to do because I don't have the mana to spend to put my axolotl that I spent 2 on to get? So you're going to need a good mana engine for those axolotls to be worth it. This is not a game where you have to have axolotls to win.
Do you get like mana each round?
Because that's an income. Yes, that is an income of 1.
So this is an income here. So if Matt builds this in this first round, and then he builds this right away in the next round.
My whole thing is having more mana income than anyone else.
Oh, right.
That's
a special
so
ability.
good.
We'll go over those in a minute.
Good.
But we should say as well that over here, you can always go and plop a worker here for 1 mana
Right.
back.
So those are free. Those are the only 2 free actions in the game. One is spend 2 mana, get an axolotl. You can do that on your turn. You can do that once per turn. And another is just, I don't need this worker. I need a mana because I have to go fishing, and these jerks took those 2 spots, and I don't have any mana. And now what am I going to? I have another worker I was going to do nothing with anyway without that. So you can always trade a worker. You can even trade an axolotl. I don't know why you do that, but you could. It costs 2. You only get 1, but
that would be weird.
Seems like something Jordan would do. The bird brain over here.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got you on that one.
All right, you sure did.
Okay.
Salamander brain.
At any point on your turn, you are welcome to pass. Okay? You're welcome to just pass the hell out of here. When you do that, you are going to go over to the round that we're in.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we can look at this little board
Let's
here.
take a look at that board over there.
This is when this board matters. So there are 4 rounds here.
Yeah, and we might even scoot this down so everyone can see it slightly better.
Oh, yes, we should
There you
probably
go.
see all the rounds. Whoever passes, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take one of these bonus tiles. There are as many as there are players, so you notice the 4-player one is empty. And these are not in ranked order or anything. They're just randomly paced out. I can take one. These are one-time use actions that I can use anytime in the rest of the game. And I can even use multiple on 1 turn if I want. But they're one-time use. So for example, this guy right here says +3 movement to all of my boats for that turn.
Yeah.
Okay?
Boom.
It's 1 turn though, not a round. 1 turn, 1 action.
Right.
I could then add +3 movement to all my guys. And I don't have to use this immediately on my next round. I can even save this till the last round of the game.
Sure.
This one is +2. This one is -3 money to all my builds for that action. That's very nice. Okay. I pass. I then take my leader card that I take. I put it back up here, and I must pick one that's not the one I just put back.
Right.
Okay. Then I would take that. I put it face down to show people I've passed. Okay. I'm not going to do anything else this round. But I may have end of round things that happen. That's this little moon symbol here. The moon symbol thing are end of round things that happen. I would do those before I put this back. And then if I'm the last person to pass, everybody else has passed, Paul and Jordan have passed, I'm the only one left, I would take whatever's remaining. I'd have no choice, obviously. But then I would get to place this anywhere on the board following legal rules. And then wherever this is, it goes on there. And that would be the end of the round.
Incredible.
That is all the actions in the game and all the rounds. Let's talk about what happens during what's called the maintenance phase, which is at the end of the round after we've all passed. We collect our workers. We pull all of our workers back here. We put all of our axolotls back in the supply. We turn over the fishing card of the recent round. This is how we track what round we're on. And then we determine the new player order based on the initiative numbers on our card. And player order is going to be placed here. We can randomly do that right now, boys.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, first player is...
It's me.
Do we go clockwise from there? I think we do.
Sure.
So Jordan, and then Paul, and then me.
Then what clockwise is?
Jordan, and then Paul, and then me.
We've had many discussions in filming whether clockwise should be this clock or the clock behind us, but I think it makes sense for it to be clockwise.
It hurts my brain to think of it any other way.
Crazy, right?
All right, that's all the rules of the game. Let's talk about what happens at the end of the game. We're going to do that for 4 rounds, and then wait, we had a 7 and a 1 out here, so this is going to go back here, and this will go up here. Everybody want to pull their little pieces back while I talk about the end of the game. So at the very end of the game, we are going to do some scoring here. All the scoring, you want to go to this little
Oh, I would
over
love to
here.
go to that little board over there.
Show the end game
Yeah,
score.
that's the perfect place to go.
Okay, so a couple things are going to happen at the end of the game. We're going to score all these lovely things over here. I already talked briefly about one of the most important scoring ways in the game, which is your settlements times the number of spirit islands that are there, whether printed on the board or placed as tokens. And you do that for every island in the game. Well, you do that for all your settlements in the game. And then we get to these endgame scoring cards. So there are a whole bunch of these in the game. We randomly have 2 of them every game, and I'll tell you what these do right now. This is interesting. This is you take your largest, you take the island that has the most of your settlements, and you count how many settlements are there, and then you square it.
Wow.
So if you have
That's massive.
If you have 6 at one island, that's 6 times 6 is 36 points.
Yeah.
And you only do that once. So wherever you have the largest group of your, they don't have to be touching, they just have to be on that island. And then it's that times itself. That's this one. And then this one is, I believe it's quite similar. This is the, players get 4 victory points for each of their settlements on, no, that's not right, is it? On the smallest island? No, this is no, on the largest.
Oh,
Players get 4
largest.
victory points for each of their settlements on the largest island. If there's a tie, it's islands. But the island that has the most settlements total. So everybody's settlements cumulatively, you'll get 4 points for each of yours on the large. So we're going to have some large land masses.
Those are really funny ones
I
to
know.
go together.
It's settlements, not hexes, because some of the spirit hexes.
Settlements only. Yes,
Love it.
exactly.
Each of their settlements on the largest island. Only your own.
Only your own settlements on the largest
But
island.
the largest island.
Largest island is.
It counts these. It'll
Counts
count
them.
spirits.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
the largest island is just the biggest island.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, and then there are also, I forgot. Throughout these are another free actions that can be taken. I forgot about these right here. These are race actions. These are things we're going to be racing for. These are randomly pasted every round. At the end of any one of your actions, you can check to see if you have achieved any of these. If you have, you put your little achievement thing on the highest victory point 1, and you immediately get those victory points. So this is if you have one settlement at 5 or more islands.
5 settlements on one island.
5 settlements on one island. First person to do that gets to score more points than others. If you have 2 or more settlements on 5 islands, or if you get your fishing all the way up to +4.
Sailing.
Sailing all the way up to
Sailing.
+4.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 random things put out in this game. Which is interesting because these sort of go against these a little bit. This is all about spreading out. Not this one, but this one definitely is about spreading out. A lot of points though, 15 points if you're the first one to any of these. Very valuable.
Sure.
If you're the first to all of them, maybe you win.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, so we talked about this one. We talked about this one. This is very simple. 1 point per fish that is left out on your settlements. So if somebody sells a whole bunch of fish and then the game ends, you don't get screwed because you didn't get time to do a celebration.
Right.
You're still going to get 1 fish for every 1
Right.
point for every fish on your own settlements. You're also going to get 1 point for every mana at the end of the game, and 1 point for every $10 that's left over. And that's the whole game.
Thanks for the teach, Matt. It was very thorough. It was great.
Should we
we're
talk
excited to play it.
briefly about our asymmetrical powers, or you
I
want to
think
save
let's
that?
actually save that for the
Let's
video
do
we're
it.
going to do with the game. So thank
Join
you so much
us
for watching
for
the teach.
the asymmetrical.
Yeah, so thanks to Matt. Thanks. Actually, no thanks to Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, you did
Wow!
nothing.
Wow! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Yeah.
Or you
And
actually made it
if you're
harder.
interested in checking out a full play of this game, you can check it out on the channel. And also, we will have a review of the game on the Game Brain podcast the same day. So feel free to check that out. But for now, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.